Hello everyone, it is your boy, Hunt, back with another fun, exciting... I love how low energy I am when I say exciting. Tabletop recap. We were supposed to review the Dungeon of Wickedness, the Rick and Morty dungeon, with Big Boy Chungus today. That has not happened because between being able to record last week's episode and that episode, I actually played something else, and I want to go ahead and get my thoughts on it down before I forget. There's no co-host with me today because this is a single-player adventure. It is the My Little Pony Tales of Equestria adventure, A Dragon's Bounty. This is an adventure from the starter set. I believe we have reviewed the starter set. Good stuff. It comes with some short how-to-play instructions right in the front. But it's about a little pony who does not have a cutie mark, aka level 0, going on an adventure and getting their cutie mark after, even if your talent has nothing to do with the adventure. I already had a character prepared for the pet sitting and pet rescue adventure that's in the back of the rulebook, because it was going to be a DMPC because no one else seemed... We didn't have enough people to really be in the party, but I decided to go ahead and use them for this. I did not level them up or anything after. I didn't feel like it deserved a level up post-game. But let me tell you about the character I used real quick. His name is Duke Buckham. His name is Duke Buckham. Earth Pony, level 1, loyalty is his element of harmony. His cutie mark talent is speak with animals, and his regular and another talent is stout heart, which all Earth Ponies get. They also get a body bonus, I believe. His cutie mark is like vine with thorns on it, but there's also a leaf. So it's kind of like, yeah, he can have like a gruff exterior because he's like a nature adventurer guy, but the leaf kind of shows his softer side. Yeah, because, you know, edgy characters don't really work in this TTRPG because there's a friendship mechanic, which is, it's basically like inspiration, pretty much. Yeah, whatever. One day when I review this game as a whole, we'll do it. But today we're talking about, as I said, the adventure, A Dragon's Bounty. So you're a little pony off on an adventure to get your cutie mark. Once again, I didn't play as a level 0, so my character already had a cutie mark. But you're in Vancouver, get it? And there's like a dragon that's been just running amok. Just running amok on the landscape. And Princess Celestia stopped this ancient, huge red dragon, very D&D. Last time, what turns out what happened is he lost his prized possession in his hoard, which is this like huge gem. And Princess Celestia found it, returned it to him, and he went back to being peaceful. And now he's rampaging again, so you think that he's lost his gem. So what you do is you get some equipment and stuff. I already had more equipment than you're supposed to start this out with, so I didn't actually go equipment hunting, which might have bit me in the butt a little bit, because I did almost die in this adventure. Well, quote-unquote die. You pass out. Remember, this is a game for small children, first and foremost, so don't complain about it not being mature enough. It's for small children. Like, there are games, like, if you want something, like, hyper dark and stuff, play Grim Hollow for 5e or something, you know? Play Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Don't play MLP TOE, okay? Don't play Tales of Equestria. But, yeah, so you're running around in town trying to get a good look at stuff. You see the main 6 chase after the dragon, but in the path I took, I never ran into them again. They might be in here again. There are a couple pictures of Twilight Sparkle throughout, so you might at least run into her. One thing that this role-playing game seems to do that I'm not particularly fond of is every adventure I've looked at so far has the main 6 in it, which is like we can I think the children will enjoy the adventure if, you know, the 6 main characters from the show don't show up. I think it might subtract a little bit. I think it distracts for sure. The only adventure that it really makes sense in is the pet rescue adventure that can be found in the back of the rulebook. By the way, if your TTRPG does not come with an adventure within the rulebook, or at least the DM's rulebook, you're cheaping out, because they almost all do. So I kind of follow them. I get into the lair. I do some stuff. I meet some diamond dogs, and I'm very friendly with them. They say that they mine gems for the dragon, and in return they get a place to live. And because I rolled a good charm roll, there are only 3 skills: body, mind, and charm, and they encompass a lot of the things that would be in the D&D or Call of Cthulhu skills, because D&D has way more skills than this, and then Call of Cthulhu has way more skills than D&D, etc. So yeah, we get this going. I talk to the Diamond Dogs. They give me a map, which is pretty cool. And it was not very helpful. Oh my gosh, I got lost a lot in this, and there were little obstacles I had to overcome and stuff. Like, you have to walk across this bridge that's over like some lava, and if you fail you get singed, which is minus a couple of hit points, which are called stamina. I actually kind of like it called stamina a little bit more. There's a XP to level 3 video that actually holds the same thing, the same sentiment, that I'm not gonna go too far into here. But you know, I did several things as well, because there was like one with a spike pit, and you would poke your rump if you failed, and you'd lose stamina, etc., etc. I found my way into the treasure room eventually, and there I made a little friend. There were like these little what were they called? Kindlings, and you could get one as a companion. And if you had a kindling as a companion, whenever you had to make checks for something that was hot, the kindling would like make the check easier. And then there's also apparently some kind of heat-resistant armor you can find. I never got it. There are a few things I didn't do. Like, I think there were some crocodile monsters or something in the steam room. I never went to the steam room. You know, never went to the steam room. But yeah, so there were a few things I didn't actually get to do. Several, probably. So, you know, I get the kindling companion, and then I get the obsidian goblet. And that allows you to open a portal to the elemental plane of fire, which is kind of toward the Earth's core, so you can't physically go into it because it's way too hot. And I use the kindling and the goblet to open it, and then you meet, like, the king of the fire elementals. And, of course, he has the big gem that you want on his big crown, and you're like, hey, can I have the gem? And he says, sure. And it's like, I read that and I was like, what? He's just gonna give me the gem? And then he was like, on one condition. I said, oh, okay. What's the condition? And he was like, I want the obsidian goblet. And then the book kind of heavily implies that he wants it for a nefarious purpose. I just assumed he didn't, because I was like, this book doesn't seem big enough for me to fight him and the dragon, so I'll just give him the goblet because it'll really help me out. And I did. Later I looked through the book, and I did find what you do if you try to interrogate him about why he wants it. He says it's just because it can open a portal between this plane and his, so that he can get jewels and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. So I traded with him, and then the dragon comes in. And there's actually a mechanic in this thing, where, because it gives you 2 physical maps, one of the twisting tunnels and one of the dragon's lair as a whole. And whenever you move to one of the big locations, you have to roll a d6 to see if the dragon shows up. And if the dragon shows up, he'll attack you, and you have to run from him. Or fight him if you get the lance. I did not get the lance. Every single time I encountered the dragon, he hit me with his fire. Every single time. I had to put one of my fancy Rick and Morty dice in dice jail because it kept rolling ones. I kept rolling ones on that D6, and all I had to make was like it was a 1 out of 6 chance every time, and then I had to make like a check, and I was failing those checks too. So I was like, okay, it's jail time, 100% jail time. So I do all that, and then once you get the gem, and you get the gem through the portal in the Horde room, but then the dragon enters the Horde room, and you're standing there with his most prized possession, and it does not look good. So you have to run around and hide from him. You can get this like horn, yes, the kind of horn that you can blow into or talk into, like a megaphone, like the kind that's made out of all animals' horn, but I think it's made out of like obsidian or something. And you kind of shout in it so that the dragon can't find where you are, and you say, "Hey, I put your thing back where it goes. You have it. You're welcome." So the dragon gets happy, curls up around it, falls asleep. You leave. You get your cutie mark if you're playing a level 0, and it's all good. So that's the whole thing, or at least everything that happened when I played it. I was trying to be pretty straightforward, do a speed run. There were a lot of rooms I didn't get to. I didn't interact with the main 6 or Spike or anybody. There's a picture of Spike in there, so I'm assuming he's somewhere. I think you can actually explore the town a lot more. I didn't explore the town at all. I went straight to the dragon's lair because I wanted to kind of get through this pretty quickly. So I did that. And, yeah, that's it. I didn't use any of my friendship points to re-roll or anything. I was only going to do that if it was a killing blow. Quote-unquote killing blow. Because in lots of these, if you pass out, you're, like, playing with several people. So you can, like, they can help you, they can revive you, they can take you places, etc. But in this one, you're playing alone. So if you run out of stamina points, you start over. I was not going to start over. I just wasn't going to do it. I was not going to do it, right? So, Duke Buckham and I thought did a swell job. We were pretty straightforward in it. I was happy to see the Diamond Dogs. I like the Diamond Dogs. They're almost like kind of dog people, goblins that live underground and collect gems. It's pretty cool. And it makes sense that they and the dragons would have an alliance because they have similar motivations. Very, very fun. So, that's what happened when I played through it. I am going to now give a review of it. Normally, we do the story, and then later on we would review it. The reason that I didn't review the Theocracy and any of Karen's stuff is because the Theocracy was homebrew. I'm not going to review my friend's homebrew. Just because it's a homebrew. And I'm also not going to review Karen's because it was never completed. The Sunless Citadel I did not review because I'm going to review Tales from the Yawning Portal as a whole once we've gone through all of them. And, yeah, so that's why we haven't reviewed a lot of these. We're going to review Descent into Avernus once it's done. I am trying to space out the Dungeons & Dragons episodes because I kind of don't want this to become a Dungeons & Dragons exclusive podcast, but it's also all my friends seem to want to play. Well, most of them are still new players and they're excited about it, so hopefully they'll branch into other games with me. KeoCat already wants to play this game with me. I'm going to be the forever GM for it, I can already tell. But yeah, so my thoughts on A Dragon's Bounty. Having a choose-your-own-adventure option for TTRPGs is not a bad idea. Call of Cthulhu, which is the TTRPG that I'm excited about playing the most and want to play the most, has at least 3 of them. Alone Against the Frost, Alone Against the Flames, and Alone Against the Dark. I have one of them. I think I have Alone Against the Flames. Haven't played it yet. And this one is fun, too. It's something that a kid can do by themselves. They'll easily get lost in the twisting thing, even with the map, because the map's not very good. So that's a complaint. The map isn't very good, but they do already give you a printout of the big version of the Dragon's map, which is pretty good, and then the Twisting Tunnels map, which is a little difficult. in my opinion. I might just be dumb. But it gave me trouble, and I'm almost 30, so it might give some kids some trouble too. This specific adventure comes in the My Little Pony Tales of Equestria starter set, so if you want to play it, you should get the starter set. You might be able to get it from... I think it might be available for download just by itself outside the starter set. Don't quote me on that, though, but I feel like I've seen it. But I already gave you my kind of complaint about how they seem to want to force the main 6 into every one of these adventures. The main 6 are in A Dragon's Bounty, and also the first 2 adventures for the adventure path once you start the game, because there's the pet sitting adventure that's in the rulebook. That one I'm actually fine with the main 6 being in, because it's like the very first one, and it revolves around pet sitting their pets, so they don't really, I think that one is a good idea. But then they're also apparently in... the next one about the statuettes, I think they're just frozen statues in that, but still, it's like they kind of soak up a lot of the limelight when they're around, Like I feel like they distract from the mission just because, oh, it's the main 6, we have to do stuff with the main 6. You don't have to do stuff with the main 6. It's fine. You really don't. But that's one complaint. Another thing about this is you don't get to role play like at all. It tells you what your character does after you pick a number, basically, or roll a die. And that makes sense. Like, don't expect to get to choose many role play options in this, because there's no game master to tell you the specific things from that. So it has predetermined ones. You pick from the predetermined one, and then it tells you what happens. So the thing about this is it's a good way to learn how to play. Yes, good way to learn the rules, even though all the rules aren't included, because you don't really get to use the friendship mechanic because you're playing it by yourself. It doesn't use the quirks at all, and there's no cutie mark or anything that you can use. So like half the things that you can use on your character sheet just don't really matter in this adventure. That's the only one that's a problem. Like, maybe in your interactions with your little fire elemental companion, maybe you can get friendship points from that. And why not have a quirk at level 0? I don't see the reason not to. You see what I'm saying? And it's fine if you want to start with a level 0 character. I don't recommend it. It seems like you can barely do anything as a level 0 character. The only time I would play as a level 0 character is in this, because this is written for level 0. This is a... Believe it or not, My Little Pony is high fantasy. This is a high fantasy TTRPG. So, it's very nice to have a dragon. Just classic fantasy monster. The most classic fantasy monster of all time. Nice to have a dragon. It's also a red one, which seemed to be the classic, probably specifically because of D&D, and because it's the same color as their fire breath, more than likely. So it's nice that you get to do stuff with a dragon. It's a very standard concept, which is fine, because once again, this game really only exists to learn how to play. I mean, the D&D starter set's really no different, like in the Essentials kit and stuff, like Lost Mines of Phandelver and the Dragon of Icespire Peak. Aren't those both like just standard dragon adventures? Don't quote me on the Lost Mines of Phandelver, but I think the Icespire Peak one is. Haven't played either, but I am going to get both. Don't worry about that. But this one's, it's fun. Kids can play it by themselves. I actually put up my DM screen to kind of help me remind me of stuff, but I didn't really need it, thankfully. I mean, it's fun. And it's good for kids. Once again, do not judge this by, like, adult media gaming standards, because it's for children. You resolve things relatively peacefully in it. Everyone's happy. No one dies. Like, you can fight the dragon with the lance, but you don't get to, like, puncture his stomach and then his guts all fall out. I mean, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it really shouldn't happen. So that's good. I do like how it gave us 2 printouts. That was nice. The starter set, I actually did a whole review on the starter set itself, so definitely check that out. One of the previous episodes is a review of the starter set. I also did an unboxing video of the starter set on our YouTube channel. There should be a link to our YouTube channel on this episode of the podcast. There's also links to our Patreon if you want to support us. You can get lots of behind-the-scenes stuff and any supplement homebrew stuff that we make. We're actually going to throw up on the Patreon, probably in the $5 tier, because I mostly post in the $1 tier, so I need to give the $5 tier people a little bit more. But that is it for My Little Pony Tales of Equestria, A Dragon's Bounty. Oh, my cat just showed up. That means it's time for Snuggles. But yeah, once again, it's fun for learning how to play. I think your kids will enjoy it. The story itself is nothing spectacular. Relatively predictable once you find out about the fire elemental plane and who its king is. Like, you can basically pretty much assume that he has the gem. Especially since the way you find out about them is because you see his little, you see his little kindling people taking like coins and smaller gems with them as well. So that's it for this episode. Yeah, the next time I do one of these on my own will probably be for Alone Against the Flames from Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition. I'm not sure when I'll play that. I don't have a lot of motivation to play that for some reason. I don't know why. I just felt this one would be quick, and it was, mostly because I intentionally tried to be very straightforward with it, because I did have a lot of stuff to do today, and it's the end of the day, like it's a little after 7 p.m., so I wanted to just finish this, and then put it in my completed RPG drawer. So, that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. I already mentioned our Patreon and YouTube, but you can also check us out on Twitter at B3 Productions, B3 Productions, or by following the link in the description. Also, in the description should be a link to our Facebook for all our podcasts. All our podcast stuff is in one Facebook, and I will be posting about this on there. Probably before this episode goes up. Definitely before this episode goes up. But that's it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see y'all next time.